Hi, everybody, and welcome to the TorontoCondos.com podcast. I am your host, Neil from Toronto Condos. Today, I'm pretty excited. We've got a good friend on the line here, and we're going to talk about what a lot of people are saying is going to be the hottest condo launch happening in Vaughan in 2019. So without further ado, we are going to introduce Mitch Parker. Mitch, take the floor. Tell us who you are, and let's start there.
Sure, awesome. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I know you're in high demand these days with all these condo launches happening. So for those who don't know me, my name is Mitch Parker, and I have been in real estate for about 13 years now. I got started as an investor, actually buying properties and being a landlord. And I've done everything from like pre-construction condos to student housing to, private mortgage lending, private equity stuff. So a good range across the industry. I've had a real estate license for the last 10 years, and to fast forward, because I don't think we have that much time, but now I am part of the team at Hirsch Condos, marketing and selling the GTA's hottest developments.
Amazing. Yeah, well, thank you, Mitch. Lots of experience on your end. So let's get right into it then. So Charisma 2 Condos. So why is everyone talking about Charisma 2 Condos right now?
Yeah, so I'm sure, as you've seen, and as people who listen, they've probably been on social media and seen something for Charisma 2. It's just like everywhere. You almost can't like go anywhere without seeing it. And I think, there's a few reasons why. I'd say, one of the reasons is definitely the developer. So Green Park specifically is a wicked developer. I would say your location in terms of the amenities that are in the area. And then I would look at Vaughan as a whole and just look at the economic growth that's been happening there. I mean, Vaughan is essentially leading the York region in terms of growth. So it's a place where people really want to be.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's explosive growth happening in that area. And you touched on the developer, Green Park. So maybe tell us who they are. Tell us about Green Park.
For sure. So Green Park's been in the development world for about 50 years now. So that would be one of the longest. And they're notorious for building, a great product. I'd say the three most important things to know about Green Park is, A, like I just mentioned, it's the quality of the product that they build. Their finishes are absolutely second to none. I would say second, their occupancy periods are usually the shortest of the industry. So, I know there's all these horror stories out there of people who stayed in occupancy for like 18 months or something crazy like that. That doesn't happen in Green Park buildings. And the third thing is Green Park projects are usually done on time. So they're started on time and finished on time. So, when you get that projection of it's going to be like a 2.5-year timeline, that's usually pretty accurate for a Green Park building.
Yeah, and it's a great point. And anybody who's been following the real estate industry, over any period of time knows Green Park is such a reputable developer that built so much in the GTA, single family homes, over the past 30, like you said, 50 years.
Yeah.
Everywhere, back in the day, you would look, in different suburbs, and it would just be Green Park, Green Park, Green Park everywhere. So great. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, key information about Green Park. So people want to know about the building. So Charisma 2, it's coming. So tell us about the building.
Yeah. So, we still don't know like every single detail yet, but what I can tell you to pass on to your clients and your listeners and all that stuff is there's going to be around 550 suites. You're looking at, there's going to be 2 towers, a north tower and a south tower, as well as like a podium that connects the 2 together. In terms of pricing, you're looking at around $730 a square foot to start, which, compared to what a lot of other stuff has launched in the area, is tremendous value. You might be talking like $100 a square foot cheaper than some of the other stuff that I've seen. The other awesome thing that we're really excited for, and I know like the buzz is really out there, is you can buy a parking spot with any suite. So no matter, the smallest suite is 572 square feet. If you want a parking space, you can buy a parking space with it. And if you buy quickly, the pricing is going to start at just $10,000 for a parking space. So, it'll eventually move its way up till around 40,000, I'm figuring. But if you're one of the earlier purchasers, for $10,000, especially we're finding like in the 905, people are used to driving, right? And so the access to the highway is obviously key. And we're thinking that, despite the fact that you could take the subway or the bus or however, you're probably going to want a car. And so I think at $10,000, it's almost like a no-brainer to pick up a parking space. And the other thing is the actual floor plans in not only this building, but it's a Green Park product. Is they're very livable. So I'll give you like two examples. Most of the units come with islands in the kitchen, right? That gives you like more counter space, more seating area, all that stuff. And then second is, when you have a living room, one of the things that you want to be able to do is put a TV across from your couch, right? It's like such a basic thing, but there's so many condos, and I'm sure you've been in like hundreds of them, where like it just wasn't possible. So it's like developing a smart layout like that, where it works and it's functional. Another quick thing is like a lot of the units, even the one bedrooms, are like one bed, 1.5 bathrooms. So that gives you that extra powder room. Whereas like if you have guests, they're not going into the bathroom that you're using on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. And that's a great point, Mitch. And on people's radar all the time is, the efficiency of design. How are the units designed? And are they functional? And good point with regards to highlighting those points with Green Park. They really put a lot of thought into how are you going to design this unit so that it's usable and functional and practical for people? So,
right, exactly.
Yeah. So can you touch on for us, so you've talked about the building, you talked about the developer, so who are the people that are going to be buying in this building? Like what does the demographic look like?
Yeah. So, I think that, and I heard somebody say this, and it resonated well with me, and I think it's going to resonate with people who hear it, is Vaughan to Toronto is kind of like what Brooklyn was to Manhattan a number of years ago, where it was kind of like, oh, you live in Brooklyn? Like that was the mentality. Where like now Brooklyn is like the place to be, and everybody wants to go there, and they have the coolest lofts and like some awesome real estate spaces. So I think in terms of who will be buying in this building, you're looking at what I believe is going to be three core buyers. So one is going to be a young professional who is looking for a condo that can not only accommodate them now, but is going to have some room to grow into. As well, I think that the younger demographic is used to being spoiled by having a lot of amenities in the area, right? It ties into like that whole lifestyle thing. And so with this project, you have Vaughan Mills at your doorstep. You have transit at your doorstep. Highway 400 is at your doorstep. Canada's Wonderland is going to be right there. So the things in walking or very close driving proximity are right there. The second type of buyer, I think, is going to be an investor. So, Vaughan, and we'll talk about this in a sec, but Vaughan has a great rental demand and a tight supply. And so if you're a landlord and you're purchasing a unit, compared to a lot of other units, if yours is designed well, the tenant walks in and he says, you know what, like I can picture myself living here. I think you're going to get a better quality tenant who's going to stay longer, and then you're going to get a higher yield or a better cash flow for your money. And then the final person I think will think Charisma 2 is attractive is somebody who might be downsizing from a house, where they're used to, like Vaughan is filled with large individual single family homes, but at a certain point it becomes a lot to manage like a 3,000 square foot house. Like once your kids move out, and eventually you just don't want to shovel the driveway or cut the lawn. So these units, again, based on the layout and the functionality, I think someone's going to look at them and say, you know what, maybe we can sell that house and move into a condo and live there more efficiently as I would in a house and utilize the square feet that I have.
Yeah, no, great points. Talk about the demographics makes complete sense. And you touched on this already, but maybe if you can kind of expand upon this, for the person that maybe is purchasing and they're not sure what they're going to do with the unit. Maybe they rent it out. Maybe one of their kids moves into it.
Right.
They're kind of on the fence. Can you talk about what the rental market in Vaughan looks like?
For sure. So, I mean, in terms of like high level, you're looking at a pretty solid demand and a pretty tight supply at the moment, just because there's not a lot of inventory out there. There was just this study done, which I found fascinating, is the average one bedroom in Vaughan rents for $2,042 a month. When you look at an area like Toronto, that's at about $2,250 a month. So, just over $200 a month more expensive in Toronto. But as we know, prices are much, much higher in Toronto. And so when you break this out nationally, that $2,042 that you're going to get in Vaughan actually ranks third out of all cities across Canada. So you have like Toronto, which is the most expensive. You have Vancouver, which is a little bit cheaper. And then you have Vaughan, which slots right in there. And so, when I'm looking at this as an investor standpoint, I'm saying, okay, am I going to get a little bit less rent than I will in Toronto? Of course. But I'm also going to be able to purchase for about 40% less than I would be able to in Toronto. So that's going to make your numbers look a lot more attractive. And then, if someone's buying and they're saying, maybe my kids are going to live in it type of thing, that's when you can look back and say, okay, well, if my kid's going to live in it, like everything I need in the area is going to be around there. And then if you're buying at cheaper than what other buildings are selling for in the area, it's natural that the price is going to increase up to what those other ones are worth.
Yeah, and I mean, great point. Like with regards to how you touched on, Toronto, Vancouver, Vaughan, the rental demand, and to your point, you're absolutely right. And listeners, and viewers know this. When you look at Toronto versus Vaughan, there's a significant difference in terms of price. So if
Right.
you're able to get for a much lower price, that's obviously a good thing. So great point. So what people are always wondering when I talk to people, about pre-construction and purchasing pre-construction, obviously I do this on a daily basis, questions have been coming up from people, so why Charisma 2 with other options out there, other pre-construction projects, people have choice in terms
Right.
of what they can purchase. So why Charisma 2 over another similar project?
Sure. So it's a great question, and I think it's for a multitude of reasons. I think that obviously the pricing is good, right, compared to that in the area. That's simple. More tangible, I think the product is a great product. So you're going to see like the quality of finishes are higher than what you're going to find in most buildings, and then I think it's that the suites are built larger and smarter than a lot of buildings, so you're getting livable square feet. And if you're an end user, then you're going to reap the benefits of that. But if you're an investor, you're going to have potential tenants walking through that are going to see the benefits of that, and that will equal a higher rental price because it looks more attractive. I think that the location is fantastic. I mean, if you're married to somebody who loves to shop, it might be pretty dangerous having Vaughan Mills like literally at your doorstep. But if you're looking for a place that has amenities, it doesn't get much better than that. And then at the same time, it's we touched on this earlier, but Green Park has been in the business for over 50 years now, and as you're well aware, there's been a number of projects out there that didn't come to fruition for whatever reason. Buyers sort of got stuck holding the bag. Their money was tied up for years and years and years. And so you really have to work with a reputable developer these days who is going to be able to get a project across the line. And it doesn't get any more stable than a group like Green Park.
Absolutely, Mitch. And this is a really relevant point when I talk to people on a daily basis about pre-construction and the process and developers. One thing that I really emphasize with them is, the quality of developer, the track record. Who are they? What have they completed? What is their track record? Because past performance, as kind of dictates future performance, and you want to align yourself with a reputable builder that delivers quality product because you know what you're going to be getting ultimately.
Exactly. And you're going to be getting a product, period.
Exactly. Well, yeah. No, excellent point. So for people that are interested, in Charisma 2, there's a lot of interest in this project, no doubt. So how do people go about getting a unit in this development? It's going to be extremely popular. So how do people do it?
Right. So, access to these projects are key. As the hot ones, they sell out fast and they sell out furiously. And it's one of those things where a lot of agents will make a call like in a month and they'll be like, oh, I'm looking for access to Charisma 2. And the whole thing's gone, right? And they didn't even know that it got released. So what we're basically anticipating that for this development. And so the key is for anybody who's interested in buying is you have to work with a broker that has inside access. That's going to be vital for your success. And that's whether this is Charisma 2 or whether it's something else down the road. You need the broker with the connections. And I know that you do that for your clients. And that's one of the major things that you bring, and we work with you on stuff like this because we know that you're going to bring buyers. And as a result, we sell units. So it's like a win-win for everybody with it. You just need to make sure that if you're a buyer, you're working with an agent, and every agent's going to tell you they have platinum access or access to the best, and it's not true. There's we work with a handful of guys who we know can move units, and we're fortunate where we have a good relationship between you and I, and you're one of those guys who's able to move units for us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words, Mitch, and we're really looking forward to working with you on this. We won't take up any more of your time. We're just a touch under 20 minutes here.
All
so
right.
I hope everybody enjoyed listening and watching Mitch.
I'm going to, Neil, I'm going to stop you for 2 seconds there.
Sure.
Because I want to, I think, give one piece of advice that your buyers can really utilize, whether it's on Charisma 2 or whether it's something on another project. And that is, when you're looking at a pre-construction condo, don't buy the smallest suite available. The reason is that's what everybody wants to buy, right? The smallest suite is going to be the cheapest, and there's only a certain number of them in the building, right? And so what I would say is, if you want to secure a suite, especially in a hot project, is look above that one and say, okay, what is the third or the fourth, or what's a different unit than what every single person is going to want, and your odds of actually securing the unit go up exponentially. I've seen it with all the developments that we've sold over the years.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, Mitch, and something that we see on a daily basis. Exactly, especially like you said, with a launch like this one where there's going to be incredible demand. It makes sense to be flexible, and it makes sense to have a variety of choices so that you're not pigeonholing yourself too tightly, where you're saying, I want a 1-bedroom on the 10th floor and that's it. It's good, north facing. Right? It's good to be flexible in what you choose and what you select, because then it allows you, working with the developer, to then say, okay, this person, they've given us some options, we can work with them, versus being too specific. It really, to your point, I've seen it happen where people kind of shoot themselves in the foot, where they're too specific. You have to be open. You have to be flexible, especially to your point, on very hot condo launches like this one.
For sure. No, that's great. And, I think that's an awesome spot to leave off of. And to anybody who listens to this, reach out to Neil. He's awesome. We have a good relationship, and he'll secure a unit for you.
Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate the time, and we're looking forward to working with you on this.
All right. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye for now.